Arkadaşlar öncelikle hepiniz hoş geldiniz.
Well, I'd like to welcome you all. My name is Bülent Bahçeci. I work at the Research Hospital of Recep Tayyip Erdoğan University. I'll introduce myself. I am the moderator. I'm the first speaker. I wasn't expecting to see this many people. It's nice to see all of you here in the hall. I was a moderator in a session in the morning, and we only had a few people, but we never had so many, so that's great to see you all. We'll be talking about sleep disorders. I'm the first speaker. In 2011, in the first psychiatry conference, I was tasked to talk about phytotherapy and psychiatry. I'm so involved with phytotherapy that this is a subject that I'm always asked to talk about. So let me start my speech. I'm not going to go into too many details in an effort not to bore you. If you want to get more details, you can log into the website that I will share with you, and you can find many details there. Okay, so sleep disorders and phytotherapy. We have two types of therapy: complementary medicine and alternative medicine. Alternative medicine, as you are all aware, is a very conflicting area. Kerem Doksat, for example, has said that there can't be any alternative to medicine. There can be complementary, there can be facilitative medicine, but alternative medicine is not an acceptable term or area as such. Okay, complementary medicine is used together with conventional medicine. It is used together with conventional medicine. It's used together. However, alternative medicine is used in place of conventional medicine. It's not complementary to medicine, it's an alternative, so in place of the conventional medicine. You might remember from a few years back that there was this guy who claimed that he used a specific type of plant and he made a medicine out of it as a cure for cancer. But a few years later, what did he leave for the United States? Is he still working on it? Was he tried in Turkey? I think he was. That's what I recall. Let's talk about this in the break. If you type in NCCAM, National Center for Complementary and Alternative Medicine, you will find a vast amount of resources, from sleep disorders to many different areas within medicine. There's a lot of details there. NCCAM classifies CAM therapies in 5 headings. So, alternative medical systems, mind-body interventions. I will talk about herbal therapy or phytotherapy, which goes under this one. Biologically based therapies, energy therapies. Why do we use CAM? First of all, it's easy to obtain. It's easily available and accessible, even in our neighborhoods. You know, we still have these plant-based remedy stores. Or you can find them online. They send it to you free of charge for the courier prices. It's harmless. It's deemed to be harmless. It's natural, it's cheap, and for many hopeless patients, it's deemed to be a last resort for those who haven't obtained any other positive results. So they're hopeless, they're desperate, and they want to resort to alternative medicine as a last resort. We don't know how credible they are. Of course, we don't quite know whether they have any side effects because there aren't enough studies about them in literature. A new regulation has been introduced in Turkey in 2014 to address traditional medicine and medical practices. They're commonly referred to as complementary or alternative medicine. And there were certain conditions there. For example, such practices have become increasingly popular in Turkey and are now addressed by this regulation on practices of traditional and complementary medicine. You have to be a pharmacology specialist. There were two specialists of pharmacology in the room in the morning session. Are they still here? No, okay. And these centers of practice need to have a registration, a document or a certification by the Ministry of Health as a health center. Unfortunately, though, in reality, the CAM centers, many CAM centers, in my opinion, do not conform to these standards. Let's have a look at the prevalence of CAM used in patients with mental disorders. 35% in Taiwan, United States, Australia, Canada, many places around the world. On average, use is like 10 to 55% as per certain resources, and some of the resources even cite up to 80%. And they call it more complementary than alternative, and the most preferred is phytotherapy or herbal therapy. Let's have a look at figures from Turkey. In Turkey, the percentage of CAM use varies between 58 to 70%. In Turkey, 22.2% of all patients with mental disorders use some form of CAM. We were the first to come up with a study in this area. It was a great study. I'll share with you the results, the findings. My 5-cent worth for you is that this is an area with immense potential. And if you have any complementary or alternative therapy study for mental disorders, publications are very open to these studies, publishing these studies. Let's have a look at groups of patients that predominantly use herbal therapy. Depressive patients is number one. And of course, certain plants, certain herbs are ever more favorite. St. John's wort is the number one resorted herbal agent. For sleep disorders, 29% of all patients use St. John's wort. As per our finding, this is very similar to the findings of previous studies. What other treatments have they used? 64% herbal therapies. Out of this, mostly depressive patients went for St. John's wort. And then this is followed by massage and reflexology. This study was undertaken in 7 centers, mostly in the Black Sea region. Saunas are not a favorite in that region, but in other areas like Ankara, Kırıkkale, where hot water resources are widely found, in Afyon and Denizli, this was one of the most preferred methods. For those of you who are familiar with Erzurum, for example, hammam is very favorite. Hypnosis, psychotherapy, relaxation techniques are down at the bottom of the list. When we look at the cost of sleep disorders, the economic cost of sleep disorders is actually immense, with an estimate of the direct cost of insomnia in the United States approximating $13.93 billion as per 1999 figures. Like I have mentioned, that national center is actually of U.S. origin. I've said already, herbal products are one of the most preferred forms of CAM, and the use of herbs as sleep aids is a common practice. In a survey of 997 Quebecy women, 18.5% reported the use of CAM to aid sleeps. For some studies, this goes up to 22%. In our study, the finding was 29%. We had 1,027 patients in our study, and the figure was 29%. In terms of data collection, for those of you who might consider working in this area, we can help and assist. Kocaeli University, I believe, asked us to make use of our data. What kind of herbs are used? Lavender is also in this list. However, lavender and melissa are mostly for anxiety or anti-anxiety purposes. Lavender and melissa. So we have passion flower, valerian, hops, chamomile, and kava kava. This is chamomile is actually very familiar herb in Turkey. Valerian was the most used, was one of the top 25 herbal remedies sold in the US and in the United States. I haven't seen this for other herbal remedies, but valerian is mostly not harmful. We can say the same for the others, but valerian is mostly not harmful. It seems to be hypnotic. How does it affect sleep? Reduces latency, improves the quality of sleep. And you can use up to 900 milligrams per day, between 400 to 900 milligrams per day. In an EEG study, it was found to be very effective with no harmful side effects. Increases the quality of sleep, and in clinical research, it is found to reduce latency with mild hypnotic effect. So how does valerian work? First, sedation may result from an interaction of valerian constituents with central GABA receptors. Valerianic acid has been shown to inhibit enzyme-induced breakdown of GABA in the brain. While valerian has to be shown as generally safe, there are concerns about its quality and efficacy. For most herbal remedies, I should say that there isn't extensive research for pregnant women. That includes valerian as well, despite the fact that it's very popular. Let's have a look at kava kava, a native of Pacific Rim. It is sedative, anti-spasmodic, anti-convulsionary. Different from valerian, it affects through benzio receptors. It helps with sleep if you use kava kava with, say, 1,250 grams per day. You can use it like a herbal tea or in inhalation method. Passion flower, many of you would probably know, it's called passiflora. It's the main ingredient of passiflora. Use of passion flower for pregnant women is contraindicative because it sedates the muscle, so it's not advisable for use in pregnant women. However, in our clinical use, passiflora is widely used agent by even the OB-GYNs. Not sure if you administer it for pregnant patients. You do. But you need to be careful because there can be contraindications. 4 to 8 milligrams per day can be used as a herbal tea. The active ingredient is chrysin, acts on benzodiazepine receptors. Side effects, no side effects reported. Actually, for many herbal remedies, there hasn't been enough study, and this is very clearly shared in the literature. This is hops. It's a very popular sleeping aid. It has a sedative effect. It's also effective on the gastrointestinal system, very widely used in Europe in the recent years. It can be used as a herbal tea. In terms of efficacy, it starts 20 to 40 minutes after administration. The sedative effect is experienced. Does it cause addiction? We don't know. We don't know for any of these herbal remedies actually, but for high dosage and long-term usage, there might be some withdrawal symptoms. Similarly, for breast cancer patients due to estrogen factors and pregnant women, this is not advised for use. This is chamomile. This is very familiar for us in Turkey. Is it the German chamomile that we have in Turkey? I think this is the one that's mostly studied. It is also effective on benzodiazepine receptors. P450 enzyme system is interacted here. We know that apart from lithium, most antidepressants, antipsychotics are effective and metabolize on this system. Therefore, at least in this meeting, we should also mention, since this is a widely used product in Turkey, I think it's a good question to ask to our patients because it is interacting on that very same system. After 2010, for example, I started asking this question to my patients if they use any complementary medicine, because we know that St. John's wort, for example, is effective on liver toxicity. It can cause liver toxicity because it's effective on liver function, and it can inhibit gastrointestinal functions. Therefore, traditional or conventional medicine in some universities have already started making use of complementary medicine. Starting from next year, we at Recep Tayyip Erdoğan University plan to do the same, at least so that we can be informed about the specific terminology and all the details of complementary medicine. In my opinion, when we talk about P450, that includes many medicines that's active on this system. On the first column, clinical studies. In the second column, animal studies. And the last column is the evidence-based studies regarding insomnia. We don't even know what type of insomnia is covered here, because these researchers are out of medicine. They're not from the field of medicine. Kava, human studies, animal studies. However, more studies or research is needed, not enough evidence exists. For example, regarding chamomile, there is neither human nor animal studies. For passion flower, there is human studies, but very few, not as many as we would like to see. So that might be a reason why it's difficult for them to get approval from the Ethics Commission. So, all in all, We don't have enough information in literature, we don't have enough information about efficacy, reliability, or we don't have drug-drug interaction information. Therefore, this is still an area very much in need of further study and research. I think the onus is on pharmacologists to further dwell in this area. Of course, plant-based medicines or drugs exist, and this needs to be an area for us to look into so that these agents can be used as extracts. Thank you very much. This is all I have. I can share the references.